Hey, MCE crew, the global economic landscape is being redefined. Now, our mission here is to roll with the punches, to understand how to keep our focus on that North Star of economic independence, no matter what happens, no matter what storm clouds may appear on the horizon, no matter how big the waves get. Our focus is on that Northern Star, okay? So in order to do that, of course, we have to understand the lay of the land. We have to understand what is coming our way. And with this central bank digital currency that the government of the United States, the governments around the world are attempting to establish, that's got some opportunities in there for us and some challenges as well. Now, we did a video a while back on the Bank of International Settlements, that's the central bank of central banks, and how they have pretty much issued a memo to all of their member central banks, including the United States of America, including the European Central Bank, all of them, saying the establishment of a central bank digital currency is an imperative and a priority. All right. So some people think that the CBDC, central bank digital currency, is just the government's version of Bitcoin. But there's an important distinction. The cryptocurrencies that we've become familiar with over the past few years, Bitcoin, Litecoin, XRP, all of this stuff is, on a foundation of a decentralized network, the blockchain. CBDCs are not going to reside in a decentralized network. They're going to be heavily centralized through, first, the Federal Reserve Bank of your country, and then on up through there, believe it or not, they're going to be influenced by non-governmental organizations, even unions, okay? All of these unions, environmentalist groups, all of these groups are getting a bite at the apple in terms of helping to establish what a central bank digital currency is and how it works. And that's a challenge, because imagine, if you will, now there's a war on fossil fuels, even though you can make the scientific argument that natural gas, that's the where you're getting that from, fossils, even nuclear power, okay, uranium, that's something that the earth itself, that you need to mine in order to obtain, all right? So, and when we talk about solar and wind, hey, look, I love the ideas. Geothermal, I love the ideas. I'm a futuristic kind of guy, solar power, sending us to the stars, great. And maybe one day as a species we'll be there, but we're not there yet. There's no way that we can power the current needs of the United States of America on solar and wind. It's a pipe dream. Our technology isn't there yet. Now, I say we keep working on the technology, on technologies, all right? Not just wind and solar, okay? Because they sound so good, because there are a lot of environmental challenges that come along with those as well, including the disposal of solar panels and wind turbines. Look into that. So when we talk about the CBDC and its nature as a very centralized currency, and you got all of these groups, let me just go back for a minute. You got all of these groups that are getting their little hooks into what a CBDC is and what it should do. Imagine, if you will, a situation where, because you're not dealing with dollar bills, you're dealing with a network controlled by the government, it is quite conceivable that they will tell you, well, you've had too much gasoline for this week, okay? Your purchases of particular things could very well be interdicted. Or you've used your air conditioning beyond your allotted amount of credit, central bank digital currency credits, for that specific use. You're out of AC for the next 4 days until your cycle starts again. This is a very, real possibility. The governments of today have proven that they are really into control, okay? And they really want to clamp down on the freedoms that individuals, especially in the Western world, enjoy. So this is a threat to our economic freedom big time. Now, let's define something, okay? Because while they are, rearranging things, we need to also have it in our minds how we continue to achieve wealth. And now wealth has been defined by society, by Western society, as the ability to go out and, purchase certain things. And, it really, I'm a millionaire, okay? Even though $1 million today is not what it used to be. And in America in particular, I don't know about any of the other Western countries, but in America, it has become acceptable to purchase the accoutrements of wealth, okay, all the while being so heavily indebted that you're anything but wealthy. So the fancy car, the big house with the big lawn and fancy clothing, expensive trips, okay, this sort of thing. That has become an acceptable substitute in America for the creation of actual wealth that is perpetuated throughout your generations. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day about the generational curse of poverty. Now, somewhere along the line, your family may have been disadvantaged financially. Your ancestors may have been slaves. Your ancestors may have come over as indentured Irish servants. On and on and on. Who knows? You could have had your ancestor come into this country maybe 20 years ago as, dissidents from China or somewhere like that, okay? And so they started things up, okay? They gave you a leg up. Okay, against the generational curse of poverty. However, if you go past 2 generations and your family's still poor, you are perpetuating the curse. No one else, especially in America. Now, a lot of people may not like that, but it's the truth. And while we're on the subject of wealth, let's redefine it. Let's start to redefine wealth away from these baubles, material possessions. Wealth in the 21st century, especially as the government tries to take control of currency. There's that light issue again, guys. I'm sorry. We got to up our light game. We'll do it. Don't worry. Budgetary constraints right now because YouTube is constraining our subscriber count, I'm sure, because they don't like what I'm talking about. So we will put investments into this operation commensurate with the type of information you're getting. I promise we'll do that. But as I was saying, we've got to redefine what wealth is. Let's get it away from a consumeristic definition where you just go out and buy all this stuff and look at me, I got the latest clothes, I'm getting into my fancy car. I look wealthy and that's acceptable. No, I believe that we should start redefining wealth for starters as the acquisition of assets, okay? So for you and your family, you guys and girls should concentrate on acquiring assets, not depreciating items. So right now, we're doing some research on possibly having to purchase another vehicle. But I can assure you, it won't be a new vehicle, although, and this is a subject for another video, these car manufacturers out here, they love the idea of the EV because it destroys the used car market. We'll get to that in another video. But we're trying to figure out, we're doing a lot of research, okay? We don't need to be seen in the fanciest thing rolling down the street. About all we need is 4 wheels, a steering wheel, and some satellite radio. Because terrestrial radio besides talk radio is trash. So we're not going to put a whole lot of money into a depreciating item like a car. Now, because we own businesses, that car will participate 90% of the time in us doing business, and we'll be able to get tax advantages off of that. That's, again, why you need to think about starting a business. So we're going to make that purchase of that depreciating item work for us to the maximum ability allowed. But we're not going to jeopardize our ability to purchase assets because we'd rather be seen. Okay, so let's start redefining wealth like that. The other part of that is to redefine wealth based on our ability to influence the future, whether that be leaving a niece or nephew money, or a child, okay, your children, or a foundation, or some institution that you believe is doing good works in the world. Maybe you want to leave your name on a building, okay, as a financial legacy. I don't know what it is. You have to figure it out. But that, again, is another way that we should be redefining wealth. Now, what is money? It's interesting. We got to understand what money is, because as they develop these CBDCs, okay, we have to understand the distinction between currency and money. What we want is money. Now, when you go on to Google and you type in money definition, what I get, oh God, this light is so, it's the sunlight, guys. Again, it's on the wrong, well, I'm not going to say the sun is on the wrong side of the building, but I'm taping this at the wrong time. Anyway, when you go in and you type money definition into Google, what I get is the first thing that pops up: a current medium of exchange in the form of coins and banknotes. Coins and banknotes collectively. No, that's the definition of fiat currency. Let's dig a little deeper. Now, I did a little research here, and incredibly, I came up with a definition from the International Monetary Fund. And let's see, their definition of it, give me a second here, let me go back. All right, here we go. International Monetary Fund, one of those non-governmental organizations, they say, to put it a different way, money is something that holds its value over time. Does the dollar do that? Does Google define it as banknotes? Do our banknotes, these US dollars, do they hold their value over time? That hasn't been the case at all. So who are you going to trust? Google? Okay, because that's where most people will stop. They'll stop at Google's, first recommended definition of it, and think that the banknote they hold in their hand that's currently losing 1% per month in value is money. The International Monetary Fund, again, it says, to put it a different way, money is something that holds its value over time, can be easily translated into prices. The dollar's not the only thing that can do that, and widely accepted. Okay. Now, a currency tends to have that as its biggest strength. If it's widely recognized, then it is widely accepted. Okay. But I make the argument that there are other things that are widely accepted and can be considered money. Now, before we leave the IMF, let's take a look at what they define as fiat currency. Okay, fiat money is materially worthless. That is coming from the International Monetary Fund, not Tyrone Keys. Okay, although I agree with it. Fiat money is materially worthless, but has value simply because a nation collectively agrees to ascribe a value to it. All right, so it's saying that, hey, the only reason that this fiat currency, the dollar, has a value is because a value has been conferred upon it magically by the United States government or whoever's government. All right. Because remember, we're not backing this dollar by gold anymore. Back then, when the dollar was on the gold standard, of course, you could easily translate it into a material value based on a commodity. Not anymore. All right, let's dig a little deeper here. Now we're going to go to the Dallas Fed. They have a document on their website, And of course, I will link to this document. The document is simply entitled Money. And under the section that says, what is money? Money is anything that is widely accepted as a form of payment for goods or services or repayment of debt. They go on to say, in the limited economies of POW camps, cigarettes became money as soon as they became the accepted form of payment for rations that prisoners were exchanging. In developed economies such as the U.S., the use of commodities as money has been replaced with paper currency endorsed by the government, very important, along with coins minted under government discretion and electronic deposits facilitated by banks. No matter the size of an economy, money facilitates transactions between buyers and sellers. So the Dallas Fed is saying, hey, we know what money is, but we also know what we need you to think it is, okay, for this system to maintain some semblance of viability. Now, I would argue that if we go by those definitions that we just went over, let's go back to the definition from the International Monetary Fund. To put it a different way, money is something that holds its value over time. Okay, so we can look at some things that holds their value over time, and we can easily call these things money based on this definition. Real estate, okay? Commodities such as gold and silver, a business that you own, or shares of a business that you own. So there's a distinction there. A business that you own and manage, I should say, your own business, or shares in a company, shares that you own. So you own a portion of that company. So let's talk about that a little bit more. Sam Zell is a real estate magnate. Ask yourself. Now, of course, we can come out and say, well, Sam Zell is worth X amount of dollars. But what translates from, what does that translate into? Okay. Where does he get the right to say he's worth X amount of dollars? He gets it from the underlying asset, the real estate, okay, which depending on where you buy it and what its function is can be very valuable and filled with tax advantages. Okay, so that's Sam Zell. Real estate, that's money. Okay, again, going back to the IMF, real estate can hold its value over time. Again, location dependent, use dependent. It can be easily translated into price. Okay, we've done that because we know that Sam Zell has a net worth based on real estate. So we can easily translate it into price and is widely accepted. Humans accept real estate as having value because we shop in it, we do business in it, we live in it. Let's go for another one. Elon Musk. Now, he's an example of someone whose wealth is denominated in the value of the companies that he owns. Tesla, SpaceX, maybe even Twitter. Maybe. Okay, so that's another example. Okay. Again, let's just drill it home. These companies, SpaceX, Tesla, not only have they held value, but they've gone up in value. All right. And people can make all the arguments they want about, I know there's some guy, some clown out there who's consistently talking Tesla down. Even every single time they go up, he has an excuse for it. I don't even want to mention his name because he will not disgrace this channel with his pessimism. So we've got that as an example. I'm sure that you can easily translate the company Tesla into a price, the company as a whole, or the products that they produce, okay? Easily translated into price. Now, Teslas are not going to hold their value. Individual cars, we just talked about that. But the company may very well do that. So we got Sam Zell. We got an example of real estate. We got an example of a company you own. Now let's talk about Warren Buffett. Well, Warren Buffett, he owns companies, but he owns shares in a lot of companies too. And again, based on that IMF definition, those shares have held and appreciated in value over time. Those shares are easily translated into price. That happens every second of every day between the trading hours of 9:30 and 4 p.m. Okay, so and a share of Berkshire Hathaway is widely accepted. So what I'm doing here is trying to get you to understand that we need to build our wealth and define our wealth in ways other than just, that dollar sign, okay? What's the underlying asset? That is what our wealth is predicated on, and that's what we need to, in my opinion, concentrate on. Dollars measure wealth, okay? They measure wealth. Just like a calorie measures heat energy, okay? Some of us have fewer calories than others. Some of us need fewer calories than others. Take that for what it's worth. So all these things, real estate, stocks, they're money, okay? Based on the IMF definition. Company equity is money. Oil is money. Gold and silver, they are money. Money is different from fiat currency. All right. And we should build our wealth with a strong basis of money. All right. Let's see. What do we have next? I want to end with this. Our human lives, and this is part and parcel of what I'm talking about. Our human lives have by and large been condensed down into being batteries in order to, we produce more consumer goods. Okay, life is about much more than that. And having money, having true wealth, is the conduit through which we can actually get the most out of this life based on how society is built, and then translate that into a better future for generations to come. We have slid as a society into this mode where everyone's a victim, into a mode where people are saying, oh, it's the American nightmare. It's no longer the American dream. Well, there are challenges in life. And our mission is, not to give up when things get, challenging. We need to get smart. And although I firmly believe that politics is not the be-all to end-all, most of the issues in our lives as individuals and in the lives of, communities, most of those issues are not legislatable. The media and politicians have done a great job over the past few decades, really, of making you think that politics is the solution to every problem. It's not. However, politicians can fuck things up, as we are currently witnessing. God bless you all. So, one of the things that I think human beings need to do is become far less emotional when it comes to electoral politics, because politics and money go hand in hand. Bad decisions by politicians, as we are currently seeing, can have a devastating effect on an economy. And if the economy is affected, so are you. All right. There are a lot of people who may have to end up working longer in order to deal with this new inflationary environment. Biden inflation, not Putin inflation. There are people who are in retirement. Can you imagine being in retirement and being on a fixed income and having to go into the supermarket, and where you used to spend $40, now you're spending $75? Okay. Can you imagine how economically devastating that is, and can put a retiree in the position where they may outlive their money? So I want you to understand what a new definition of wealth is. If it's predicated on real money, then the prospect, and I know somebody like this who's a retiree and their money is predicated on real estate and they're doing just fine, okay? And this person is in their early 70s and shows no sign of slowing down, looking good, feeling good, okay? Unfortunately is a widow, but doesn't look like she's going to be running out of money at all. And at the same time, leaving a legacy to her children, okay? So that's what we need to concentrate on doing. Turn off the news because they're full of shit, basically, most of the time. And local news is a joke. Look, in any urban area, local news is who got shot, maybe a fire happened, some political corruption, weather, sports, do it all again at 6. So that's all for now, guys. We'll be doing more on this. I know these videos are getting longer, and that's because we got a lot to talk about. We're not going to sit here and engage in doom and gloom. We're going to talk about how to empower ourselves economically. I mean, really, okay? Not just have a couple of extra zeros behind your bank account, but to have the foundation of real wealth. Oh, quick. You do need, some liquidity. Real estate is not liquid. We'll go into that on a different video. But you do need some liquidity. But you don't need, a lot. You have to research it for yourself and figure out how much you need. That's a topic for another day. But have your wealth predicated in something solid, real wealth that's been around for thousands of years. Okay, not NFTs. Did you see where this NFT of the first tweet, who it sold for $3 million? Some idiot bought the first tweet for $3 million, tried to turn around and sell it for multiple tens of millions of dollars. Got offered $300 because it's worthless. If you want to buy a non-fungible token, buy some real estate. That's non-fungible. All right, guys, I'll talk to you soon. To learn more about how you can achieve financial independence, check out these videos we recently posted on the Money Changes Everything channel.